Welcome back to Washington Watch. Joseph Backholm sitting in for Tony today. Yesterday, 24 Republican state attorneys general sent a letter to President Biden in opposition of his attempt to force millions of American citizens to get a COVID-19 shot. On 5 pages, the AGs outlined their outline called the president's plan disastrous and counterproductive. And they made it clear that they would seek every available legal option to hold the president accountable and uphold the rule of law if his administration does not alter course. With me now to talk about the inevitable legal showdown over the president's vaccine mandate is one of those attorneys general, Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge. Attorney General Rutledge, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you so much. Glad to be on with you all, and happy Friday to everybody.
Well, we are glad to have you. Happy Friday to you as well. Tell us, why did you sign on to this letter?
Well, I joined with 23 of my colleagues to essentially send a message to President Joe Biden that his vaccine mandate is essentially against the law, and that these states, and as the Attorney General of Arkansas, I'm not going to sit silently by while Joe Biden tramples on our rights as Arkansans and as Americans.
Well, and I want to point out there are 24 states that have signed this, and I won't take the time to read all of them. But in addition, the governors of 3 other states that did not sign, Idaho, Iowa, and Tennessee, have all expressed their concerns to the Biden administration as well. So you have a majority of states that have expressed their opposition to these mandates. Do you believe that President Biden's mandate will actually encourage people to be vaccinated?
Well, it may encourage some to be vaccinated, but we want people to get vaccinated because that they have had a conversation with their doctor, with their pharmacist, and in consultation with a medical professional, not in consultation because they are being mandated to do so. I do not believe these mandates should exist, and we have concerns, and we stated these concerns that we're worried that this mandate could even further further increase the skepticism of the vaccines.
We're speaking with Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge. And General Rutledge, one part of the letter says the following. It says, Mr. President, your vaccination mandate represents not only a threat to individual liberty, but a public health disaster that will displace vulnerable workers and exacerbate a nationwide hospital staffing crisis with severe consequences for all Americans. Do you believe that the Biden administration thought about the implications of this mandate, or was it more a political effort?
Oh, I don't believe that the Biden administration thought through the impact, or if they did, they don't realize how American businesses operate. This is not a one-size-fits-all. Just because a company has 100 employees, it doesn't mean that those 100 employees are working side by side one another. So many businesses now have allowed employees to work remotely, or they may work outdoors. Unfortunately, the Biden administration did not take any of this into account with regard to separated spaces or closed off offices. It simply applied a one-size-fits-all strategy. We saw this when Joe Biden was the vice president to Barack Obama, and now we've got the same one-size-fits-all liberal radical ideas coming from the Biden administration.
And it does feel like there has been a lack of foresight in thinking about what this is going to actually do, specifically the point you made in the letter about healthcare workers and the fact that there are significant numbers of workers in the healthcare industry who are not comfortable with it themselves. And the idea that we would just force companies to fire employees at a time when we already have a shortage of healthcare providers doesn't seem like the wisest course of action, and it doesn't necessarily seem like the best way to accomplish the goal. You've also raised some constitutional challenges in your letter and the suggestion that when challenged, this is not going to survive. Tell us about why you think this may not be legal.
Well, that we, in that letter, one of the things that we are researching as we contemplate taking legal action against the Biden administration is a potential violation of our constitutional rights to say that a private sector employee must get this shot or submit to testing or be fired. And, we lay out these legal concerns in our letter. It's another example of an expansion of federal regulatory agency and public perception of the court's constitutionality. So we're firing the shot across the bow to let President Biden and his administration know that they are on extremely shaky ground, and that I, as the Attorney General of Arkansas, along with my colleagues in 23 other states, are not going to sit silently by while they trample on our rights and force companies to require a vaccine on those employees when the workplace doesn't deem that necessary, when health care providers are not deeming that necessary for that individual employee. And so it's an absolute overreach by President Joe Biden and his administration.
Attorney General Leslie Rutledge from Arkansas, we really appreciate your time. We're going to continue to track this. We may need to have you come back because I know this is just the beginning of this saga. Really appreciate you joining us today, though. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed weekend.